Imagine this. You're standing outside on a normal day. The sky is blue, birds are flying, the sun is warm on your skin. And then, without warning, without explosion, without sound, the sun goes dark, not dim, not eclipsed, not hidden behind clouds, gone. For a few seconds, nothing feels different. People keep walking. Cars keep moving. Planes stay in the air. No alarms go off. No one screams yet, because the light you're seeing right now left the sun about 8 minutes ago. The Earth is still living in the past, but 8 minutes later, everything changes. The first sign isn't cold, it's darkness. Across the entire planet, daytime turns into night. The sun doesn't set. It doesn't sink below the horizon. It simply vanishes. Shadows disappear. The sky turns black, even at noon. Stars suddenly explode into view, confusing and terrifying people who have never seen them in daylight. Phones come out. Social media floods with panic. Some think it's an eclipse. Others think it's nuclear war. Religious leaders call it the end times. Scientists freeze, staring at instruments that make no sense. Then the temperature starts to drop. At first, it feels like evening, a cool breeze, comfortable, almost peaceful. People put on jackets. No one realizes yet that the Earth has just lost its only source of heat. Within 1 hour, the average global temperature begins falling fast. Not slowly like winter, faster, more brutal. By the end of the first day, the temperature drops below freezing across most of the planet. Crops die almost instantly. Tropical regions that have never known cold begin to freeze. By day 2, oceans start releasing steam as surface heat escapes into space. Ice forms in places where ice has never existed. Power grids fail as demand explodes. Fossil fuel plants struggle. Solar power is instantly useless. Wind turbines freeze. Nuclear plants keep running. But they are on borrowed time. Within a week, the average global temperature drops below -20 degrees Celsius. Cities become death traps. Water pipes burst. Heating systems collapse. Gas runs out. People crowd into underground spaces, subways, bunkers, basements, anywhere that might trap heat. Violence erupts over food, fuel, and shelter. Governments try to maintain order, but communication satellites begin failing as their solar-powered systems die. And here's the terrifying part most people don't think about. Plants are already dead. Photosynthesis stops the moment sunlight disappears. Forests, grasslands, crops, everything green begins dying within days. Herbivores starve. Carnivores follow. Entire ecosystems collapse like dominoes. By 1 month, Earth is no longer recognizable. The oceans freeze from the top down, sealing liquid water beneath kilometers of ice. Without sunlight, plankton die, wiping out the base of the marine food chain. Fish vanish. Whales starve. Coral reefs become frozen graveyards. The average surface temperature plunges to -60 degrees Celsius. The atmosphere begins to change. Carbon dioxide starts freezing out of the air, falling as dry ice snow. Oxygen levels drop. Breathing becomes harder. Fires can't burn properly. The sky becomes thinner, darker, more alien. By 3 months, most humans are gone. Only small groups survive near geothermal heat sources, volcanoes, hot springs, deep underground facilities. Nuclear submarines remain alive under the ice, silent and isolated, carrying the last functioning fragments of civilization. By 1 year, the surface of Earth is completely frozen. The temperature drops below -100 degrees Celsius. Nitrogen, the main component of our atmosphere, starts freezing and falling from the sky. The air itself is disappearing. Earth is becoming a frozen rock. No wind, no rain, no sound, just ice and darkness. But the planet doesn't end all at once. Deep beneath the surface, life clings on. Bacteria near hydrothermal vents. Microbes feeding on chemical energy instead of sunlight. These creatures don't care about the sun. They never needed it. Humanity, however, is finished. Even the deepest bunkers eventually fail. Nuclear fuel runs out. Machinery breaks. Food supplies vanish. The last survivors die in total darkness, never seeing a sunrise again. Millions of years pass. The sun is still dark. Earth drifts through space, a rogue frozen world, locked in eternal night. Ice kilometers thick covers the planet. Continents are buried. Oceans are solid. But life, tiny, stubborn life, still exists. And that raises the final question. Did the world end? Or did only our world end? Because Earth itself doesn't explode, it doesn't shatter. It doesn't disappear. It simply becomes silent, waiting, frozen, a grave for one civilization, and a cradle for something else, somewhere far in the future, if the sun ever comes back. Millions of years pass in complete darkness, but Earth is not dead. It is sleeping, deep beneath the frozen surface, far below the kilometers of ice. The planet still breathes heat from its core. Molten rock shifts slowly. Pressure builds. Volcanoes occasionally erupt under the ice, melting small pockets of liquid water that never see the sky. In these hidden oceans, life survives, not animals, not plants, but microscopic organisms feeding on chemicals rising from the Earth itself. They have no eyes, no need for light, no memory of the sun. Earth has become a rogue world, drifting silently through space, no longer part of a solar system that gives life warmth and direction. The moon remains frozen in orbit, a pale ghost circling a darker ghost. Time loses meaning. Days and years no longer matter. Above the ice, the surface is perfectly still. No erosion, no weather, no movement. Mountains are preserved like statues. Cities remain locked in ice, skyscrapers frozen mid-collapse, airplanes trapped in solid airfields, roads buried under endless white. Every sign that humans ever existed is paused forever, as if the universe pressed stop, but space is not empty. Gravity still works. Even without sunlight, the sun's mass still holds Earth in orbit. If the sun went dark but didn't disappear, Earth would continue circling it endlessly, a frozen planet looping a dead star. But if the sun truly vanished, collapsed, extinguished, or removed, Earth would be flung into interstellar space, traveling alone through the cold between stars. And that journey would be brutal. Interstellar space is only a few degrees above absolute zero. Without even distant starlight, Earth's temperature would continue to fall until it stabilized at near -270 degrees Celsius. At that point, molecular motion nearly stops. Chemistry slows. Life becomes almost impossible. Almost because even here, deep underground, some microbes enter suspended animation. Not alive, not dead, waiting. Hundreds of millions of years later, something unexpected could happen. Earth might pass near another star, not close enough to burn, not close enough to restore oceans, but close enough to warm the surface slightly. Just a few degrees, enough to crack the ice, enough to melt small channels, enough to awaken sleeping chemistry. If that happens, life could stir again. Not humans, not animals, not trees. Something new. Life that never knew the sun. Life adapted to darkness, to cold, to isolation. Life born not from sunlight but from pressure, chemistry, and time. And somewhere in the frozen ruins of human cities, those organisms might spread through steel and stone, unaware that these structures were once homes, dreams, entire worlds. From the universe's perspective, Earth didn't end quickly. It took weeks for civilization to collapse, years for humanity to disappear, thousands of years for the atmosphere to fall, millions of years for the planet to fully freeze. The end of the world wasn't an explosion. It wasn't fire. It wasn't instant. It was quiet. No final scream. No final message. No warning. Just a slow fading of warmth and memory. If someone, somewhere, in the universe could observe Earth from afar, they wouldn't see a disaster. They would see a dark planet orbiting a dark star, perfectly stable, perfectly silent. A reminder that life depends on balance and that balance can vanish without notice. The sun doesn't just give us light, it gives us time. Without it, Earth doesn't fight. It doesn't resist. It simply lets go. And that may be the most terrifying ending of all, not destruction, but indifference.